and I felt so saddened by the situation, because most of the time we hold the public forums and tell people speak out, but then from there, what next?
What next?
I think the what next is something that we must investigate, and we must ensure that the what next is what now we work on.
This afternoon we are in Kirinyaga County. We are joined by one of the survivors of violence, but not only a survivor, she is the women representative Kirinyaga County. She's a legislator, she's a lawyer. I would like to welcome her to the Affirmative Action Table. Would you kindly introduce yourself?
Thank you for coming all the way to Kirinyaga County. I'm Njeri Maina, the County MP Kirinyaga, an advocate by profession and an ardent advocate of social and human rights. Karibuni sana.
Thank you so much. First of all, recently you went through some form of violence and you are outspoken about it. And you're an advocate of social rights. Can you tell us why you came out and what that experience taught you?
I think I found it's very important for survivors of violence to speak out, because that takes away the power from the perpetrators. So for me, as a representative of women, I took initiative, and I knew for a fact that if I do not speak out, I am the County MP Kirinyaga. Just imagine the many other women who go through the same. So they will look at me and think, well, if she cannot speak out, and she is in a powerful position or a position of power, who am I, you know? Yes. So for me, it was very intentional of me to be very loud and vocal about it, to also tell the perpetrators, look, I am calling you out on this, and we will ensure that justice is done. I think the lesson or the takeaway from that was how perpetrators like to take away the power of you even being able to speak. Yes. And of course to sort of ridicule you or see that you're in a point of disadvantage, because as a woman in politics, most of the time you find that I'm dealing with many other women and aggravating for women's issues. So I think I took away that sometimes they really just want to put you in a corner where you're just terrified of even speaking out or coming out. And that was a takeaway from that. And I was very intent on making sure that I do not fall into that box.
Our justice system in this country is better, but there's more that can be done. When we have cases of violence, we focus more on the perpetrator and not the survivor.
Okay.
And so the survivor needs to go through some phases that will empower them more than the perpetrator. I do not think that just arresting the perpetrator and taking them to court is enough. There's more that needs to be done.
Yeah. Rightly put, people must not always concentrate on the victim. Can you speak about the aggressor? How, and even, because when I'm a victim, a lot of us are having the conversation of the victim. There is this other side of the coin, the aggressor. What can we do around that? Because as a victim, maybe sometimes I don't speak out because maybe the aggressor will still come for me. There is the aggressor, the losing of liberty. There's also the access to justice process.
Yeah. First of all, the aggressor, most of them could be suffering from mental illnesses, mental problems, and for men or women to just decide to attack a spouse or a different gender, we really must make sure that the person we are dealing with has a mental capacity to understand the consequences of what they do. And nowadays, the trial process of assault occasioning actual bodily harm is good enough in that the victim is allowed to have a representation, in the trial, and unlike before, they are allowed to address the court. So therefore, we must look at the whole problem holistically, or the entire problem holistically, whereby you look at the victim and also the aggressor, because there could be a lot of underlying problems that actually bring about gender-based violence.
Let us look at survivors. Let us look at also the ones who have mental issues. What becomes of them? Now I have gone through an ordeal. I'm a survivor, and what is the process that you're highlighting to them that they can be able to follow through in order to seek justice?
The first would be get medical attention. Get physical attention, go to any health facility, preferably the nearest state or public institution or healthcare facility. Get tested, get checked, get the counseling services where possible, and document as much information of the incidents with the health center, because that's the first situation. They know how to assess and who to bring in. The second would also seek the gender desk at the different police stations. They have specialized officers who are trained to deal in such matters. So you might not be exposed, or your matter would not be handled at the reception area or at the inquiry desk, so that you have a private space for support. And there's very many police stations that have children-centered facilities or desks. So there's even more support and protection for the sensitive cases. And now, after that documentation, then it's forwarded either to our office or to different partners at the county levels.
We have been at the forefront of trying to enforce those particular rights. And as an advocate, I can tell you this: gender-based violence is one of the easiest way of losing your own liberty as the aggressor, because once you are convicted in court, of course, you go to prison, and therefore we talk to people and really try to advise them to keep off from gender-based violence, because it not only sends you to prison, it can also make your children orphans. Because you realize, like this case of a headmaster who was killed in some place in Thika, and the children were pleading with the court that please do not sentence our mother to custodial sentence, because we are going to be rendered orphans. So there are so many dynamics, and when we talk about gender-based violence, it's not about assault occasioning actual bodily harm. It's about other things and other people that are affected by domestic violence, gender-based violence.
Yes. What's the action that you're taking for access to justice? Because there's a speaking out, which you have mentioned, where you're not put in a corner, but then beyond the speaking out, the access to justice. What can we do about that? What's the action? And especially you as a legislature, a woman representative, a woman MP in Kirinyaga County, what is that action that you've taken?
I think there's such a huge gap between speaking out about GBV and the follow-up process, and ensuring that action is taken, the legal action, and that the perpetrators face justice. Because you find that most of the time, even the collection of evidence, the entire process, it's so draining for women already, yes. You know, and then they have to actually now follow up. When I was attacked, I made a report, I did statements, but then I had to actually now follow up for the arrest, yes. You know, and I thought, if I am in a position of privilege, and I have to do a follow-up to have my perpetrators arrested, what about the woman, the common woman just down there, yes. Who has no connections, no position of privilege? They don't have the legal knowledge that I do have. I mean, and I felt so saddened by the situation, because most of the time we hold the public forums and tell people speak out, but then from there, what next? What next? I think the what next is something that we must investigate, and we must ensure that the what next is what now we work on, yes. Because we've already told women speak out, but then the what next must be also catered for. I ensured that I did a statement on the floor of Parliament. I called out violence, and I said that we need to ensure that whatever it is, violence is not the solution. I have also organized a legal aid clinic free legal aid clinic in Kirinyaga County to ensure that we close the gap of access to justice, because justice is very expensive for many people in Kenya, and so they're not able to afford even legal advice or even legal services. They don't even know the offices that they can report to. They don't know the process. They don't know how long maybe and the court procedures and the technicalities. So we have a free legal aid in Kirinyaga County, which is a partnership with NGAF and partners like Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, Legal Aid Network, Office of the DPP. We have IPOA, investigative agency for the police force. We have Katiba Institute, and we have FIDA Kenya. You know, some of the people who've really been vocal about aggravating or pushing for the rights of women and equality. So for me, I took the initiative to give people the what next, so that I can give them access to these organizations, to these platforms where they can solve their what next question.